Hi everyone, this is Trista at High Fashion Sewing Machines with Bernina Jeff. He's behind the camera this time, so we are doing Baby Lock IQ Designer Sleeping Eye Mask. So I went to Google and I typed in sunglasses line art, and then I clicked on images. So then I had a nice little picture. So I copied that and printed it out to scan. We scanned that in and I have it on my screen here. Yep, we used the scan board.
What are those
Magnets.
green things?
These magnets hold your paper in place, and we can see those on the screen here. So I want to crop them out because I don't want them to be part of the design. So after I scanned it in, I pushed line design. That's important. So we'll crop it. Okay, then we're gonna push OK. Perfect, I'm gonna push set. All right, and now I'm gonna use my mouse because I have a little bit more control that way. I'm gonna zoom in.
And you need to use a mouse with a wire on it. Wireless mouse don't work well on the Baby Locks.
So we zoomed in a little bit, and I'm going to get rid of that inside lens line with my eraser. And I can click here and see how big it is. I prefer the square. It's good to click off, so you unclick frequently so that if you do mess up, you're only undoing. Here, I'll just show you. If you went over your line that you wanted to keep, I can push undo and I don't have to go back and erase everything. So I found do a little bit and then let go. Do a little bit and then let go. Okay, so I can finish. All right, then we'll go to the other eye.
I can't get too close, otherwise she can't see what she's doing.
We work pretty well together, though.
Okay, then pick up the fabric that you want to use for your skirt. Okay?
Oh, I don't want to undo that. I mean, unstitch that. So let's undo is my friend. Click off. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom
So
back
you
out.
basically just made an outline. You don't have any inside lens stuff or anything anymore, right?
True. So now I want to have a little bit more fabric here. I can't just bend that line. So I'm gonna go into shapes and find something that will make the curve that I want. Or you could draw something in. I'm not real smooth with the mouse that way, so I'm gonna go in here, choose my shape, push OK, and then I'm going into size, and I'm gonna make it as small as I can for a curve of my nose.
You don't have to do a fussy cut. It's 3 inches by 3 inches. That's too small.
Yeah. Stick it right in there. If I get real close again with my zoom, I can see a little bit better, and I just want to touch it to that other line that I have. And then I'm gonna get the eraser and take out everything except that little curve. Let's scoot just a little. For time, I'm not gonna go super detailed into that right here, but I wanna clean that up as much as I
So
can.
you'd zoom into like 800 or 1600 to get really close.
Yeah, I did 1800, works really well. Okay.
You just
All
want to
right.
make sure you have a continuous object. Any breaks in the line makes things happen bad.
True.
Right?
True. Okay, so now I want to go into my line properties. You can click here or here and it brings you to the same page. So I'm going to set it as actually my blanket stitch, and I'm going to choose green.
A little darker than that. It'll show
Okay,
up better on the camera.
blue.
Yep.
Okay. I do like a contrasting color because then after I choose my bucket and I touch my line, I can see the change. So we're gonna zoom out. Good. Okay, so now I wanna go save this. Actually, I do wanna check the size that it is to make sure that's gonna fit my face. So right down here, this is a select tool. I can use my magic wand and touch a certain part of it, or I can click and grab it like this. Now my size button is not grayed out, so I can use that tool. And I set my size to 2.5 by almost 7 inches. Oh, that's what we're at right now. That's great.
And you just measure it on your face, right?
I sure did. Okay, so let's see. We want to go save it. So I'm going to push memory right here to the machine. Go next, where you can double check any of your properties here if you needed. And I can see that that is messy right there where I didn't take a little extra time to clean that up on this one. So let's go, oops, memory right here. So now it's saved as a working and an embroidery file. I'm going to return, and now I can use that stitch because I have a projector as my placement and my securing stitch. So the next thing I need is a little line here on each side for the elastic that will go around my head. So I'm going to go into this pencil, select the pencil, go into here and change it to straight line because it can sure draw a straight line better than I can. Use red so you can see it well. And actually, I don't want a blanket stitch for this. I want my triple stitch. Okay. Draw a little line. Draw a little line. Okay, so it's not perfect, but it's good enough. Now I want to move the outline away and keep just those red lines. So if I go into this and grab my magic wand and touch this, it's grabbed it. So now I can move just it, close this. Now I want to erase this because I don't actually want to stitch it out. You can erase it or you can touch it with the no stitch line in your properties. There's 2 ways to do it. I kind of like to do the erase it so it looks a little bit cleaner when I get to that embroidery page. So I'm going to push OK and memory to the machine. Next. Okay, and I can see my line properties here, and that is what I want. So I'm going to push memory to the machine. And now I'm going to go home and then go into embroidery. so I can pull it out of my pocket. So what I did before was a straight stitch and a blanket stitch. It doesn't really need to have both, depending on your fabric, I guess. So let's select this one, set it, add from my pocket. That's my elastic tack down. Set that. Now I can go to embroidery, and it's going to stitch out my outline, and then it'll stitch out my elastic tack down. So when we look at the, I'm going to push the projector button here because depending on the machine you have, Solaris has this super awesome tool, and I'm going to move my box here because on the screen it's only showing my stitch in a very small spot, so I'm going to scooch up. Okay, so now over here in my hoop, I can see, do you want to look at the hoop? I can see where that stitch is going to come down, so I can use that to place my fabric.
Getting a little feedback, but you get the point.
It is showing a rainbow. So here we go. Okay, so I would want to take my hoop off and tape my fabric to the back side and lay my fabric on here on the top. I also really like to use the basting stitch feature. So if we look over on the machine, I'm going to push OK because I'm happy with where my fabric is. Under layout, on most all the baby lock embroideries, you have this basting tool. That basting stitch is pretty close right here for the design I'm doing. I could go into the settings and change it so that it's further away, but for now we can just let that stitch out. Do we want to sew it or just talk about it?
Just talk about it. How many layers did you use?
So I did 2 layers of flannel on the top, stitched my straight stitch, and then on the back side I taped 2 more layers of flannel, and then I scientifically with my elastic I measured around the back of my head, and that was enough elastic. So then I taped it down on either side, and then I taped it up so that it was not in the way of the foot, nice and clear, and it tacked down. So then when I was finished sewing, I just trimmed it around, and it's actually pretty darn comfortable. I was ready to take a nap. So I hope you guys have some fun playing in your IQ. I will save my instructions and my little picture of sunglasses on our website if you'd like to use that.
That should be ready about April 1st or 2nd. And the website is www.highfashiongj.com. So why don't you repeat that?
Our website is highfashion, HIFASHION, like Grand Junction.com.
And feel free to download these, and happy sleeping on the airplane when we finally get a chance to go back and do some traveling.
Yay!
So this is Trista and Bernina Jeff.
Happy sewing!
And this is our
Thumbs
March 2021 IQ Designer. Thanks.